She gave away her last meal, not knowing it would come back to save her life. Because sometimes the smallest act of kindness travels farther than we can ever see. In a quiet corner of Port Harcourt, where the streets buzzed with life from sunrise to sunset, lived a woman named Ngozi. She wasn't wealthy, she didn't own much, but what she had, she shared. Every morning before the city fully woke, Ngozi would set up her small roadside stand, a wooden table, a faded umbrella, and a tray of freshly baked bread she made herself. The smell alone could stop people in their tracks. Warm, soft, comforting. For many, it was just breakfast. For Ngozi, it was survival. One morning, business was slow, very slow. The sun climbed higher and fewer people stopped by. Hours passed and most of her bread remained unsold. Ngozi sat quietly, counting the few crumpled notes in her hand. It wasn't enough. Not for rent, not for food, not even for tomorrow. Just as she began packing up, a small boy approached her stand. His clothes were worn, his slippers barely held together. His eyes carried a hunger he could not hide. He pointed softly at the bread. "Please, how much is one?" Ngozi looked at him, then at the bread, then back at him. "It's 50 naira," she said gently. The boy searched his pocket and brought out a few coins. Not enough. He lowered his head. "I'll come back," he whispered. Ngozi watched him turn to leave. Something inside her stirred, a quiet voice, the kind you feel more than you hear. "Wait," she called. The boy stopped. She picked up one loaf, wrapped it carefully, and handed it to him. "Take it," she said. The boy hesitated. "But I don't have enough." Ngozi smiled softly. "I know." The boy held the bread like it was something sacred. "Thank you," he said, his voice barely steady. Then he ran off, clutching it tightly. Ngozi watched him disappear into the crowd. Then she looked at her nearly full tray and sighed, because kindness, though beautiful, does not always pay the bills. That night, the rain came, heavy, relentless. Water leaked through the roof of Ngozi's small room. She tried to move her belongings, but there was too much water, too little space. By morning, everything was soaked, ruined. Her flour, her ingredients, her savings, gone. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the damage, silent, empty. The next day, she didn't go to her stand. There was nothing to sell. No bread, no money, no plan. Hours passed. Then there was a knock on her door. Soft, unexpected. She opened it slowly. Standing there was a man in a clean shirt holding an umbrella. Behind him was a small delivery truck. Ngozi frowned slightly. "Yes?" The man smiled. "Are you Ngozi?" She nodded, confused. "I was asked to deliver these to you." He stepped aside. The truck doors opened. Inside were bags of flour, sugar, butter, yeast, even a brand new oven still wrapped. Ngozi stepped back in shock. I think there's a mistake," she said. The man shook his head. "No mistake." He handed her a small envelope. "I was asked to give you this as well." Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a note, simple, carefully written. "You fed me when you had almost nothing. My mother says kindness always finds its way back. Please don't stop." Ngozi's eyes filled with tears, her vision blurred, because she remembered. The boy. The man smiled gently. "The boy you helped. His mother works for my company, and when she heard what you did, she insisted we find you." Ngozi covered her mouth, overwhelmed. She had given away one loaf of bread, and somehow it had come back as a miracle. Days later, her stand looked different, bigger, brighter, alive again. Customers returned, more than before. But what never changed was Ngozi, because every morning she still kept one loaf aside, not for sale, but for someone who needed it. And every time she handed it over, she would smile, because now she knew something most people forget. Kindness is never wasted. It just takes time, to find its way back. Closing message. There is someone out there right now who needs a small act of kindness, not something big, not something expensive, just something real. So tell me in the comments, what is one small act of kindness you can do today? And if this story touched your heart, share it with someone, because you never know how far one simple act can travel or when it might come back to you.